meeting. First, are there any comments, suggestions, or petitions by residents in attendance regarding items not on the agenda?
Darrell Cook, South Walnut Street. How much did the borough collect for posting no parking signs on Gay Street last year? Thank you.
We're going to move on to the discussion items. A is the director's report.
Hi. Is this on? Okay. How's everyone? Okay, I'll make this simple. We have hired a part-time officer for night shift. His name is Nathan, and he will begin on May 16th. We are just waiting for his uniforms to appear. Seems like a nice guy. We are doing license plate reader demos. We've done 2. I'm searching for one more company, and then I will have a game plan for that for our capital plan. We did demos for multi-space meters in town and are working on trying to consolidate apps for end users and the software internally. We have a lot going on. We are looking to get some more information on the back end of IPS, which was one of the demos we did. Once we have that and have played around with that a little bit, we should have a recommendation for you all, hopefully at the next meeting. The wayfinding project, I put almost ready to go out to bid, but I did get the documents yesterday. So Don Edwards will help me get that into pen bid. And by the next meeting, hopefully we'll have bid results for that. So that'll be nice. I did add lot 6, which is I guess people call it the Spaz lot. We will now call it the Gay Street lot because all of the lots will now be called by the streets that they're on. I did ask to include that as an add-on, an add alternate, just in case we did decide to add signage for that lot, depending on if we ever want to put a multi-space meter in there and have paid parking in the evening, since the county only leases until 5 p.m., but no pressure yet. And then I just wanted to give a heads up that for on the finance committee agenda, there is a fee schedule with some modifications, and I had just some minor changes. I really just cleaned up some of the verbiage because it was listing every single lot for the parking department. So I just cleaned it up that they're all on street and surface lot, single and multi-space meters are $1.50 an hour. We have a sign fee that's $1 a sign. And the last one is, it's actually an action item on our agenda, which is consideration for us to raise the daily monthly fee at Chestnut Street Garage to $95 a month. Right now it's $90 a month. And I know we've been working hard to be consistent. So the leases and the lots are all $95 a month. Bicentennial is $95 a month. So this would just bring Chestnut Street to the same rate. So that is everything going on for the department. The financials. For the month of April, ticket revenue was down a bit. We were 109, 225. Posting was up. There was a ton going on. I'm sure everyone loved trying to park in town with all of the street repair. So we had $10,205 in posting revenue. 3420 in lease revenue, that is from the Methodist Church, who has caught up on their invoicing. Meter revenue is at 156,827. Permit revenue was 1264. We did make $1,300 in booting, and we had 1 food truck renewal. I did switch the food truck permits. They're now virtual on license plates, so we can keep better track of when those expire down on campus. Those have become kind of a pain. So the total for the month was 282, 342, 39.
Okay, and we have any questions on that? Okay, we have a garage management report this month.
Good evening, everyone. Just a quick overview of financials. We were $21,000 up to budget and $8,000 up year over year for our revenue. We're down approximately 50 monthly parkers between the two garages. We associate that with just the movements of the university and what we have. But overall, transient revenue is up. I was hoping to walk in here today and tell you that our aggregators are up and running, but our DTC, which is our digital ticket checkout, is fully up and operational. That was the first step, getting our banking information settled and what have you. I fully expect ParkWiz to be up and running by end of business day tomorrow. And then Spot Hero is going to be the second aggregator. We have a third aggregator we can actually pull in. That aggregator is just going to allow us to reach more people and tell them who we are here in Westchester and what garages are available.
Can you just say out loud what Spot Hero is and how that will help us?
I'm sorry?
Talk about Spot Hero.
Yes. So Spot Hero is an aggregator where let's say you're coming from Philadelphia and you're coming to an event here. We can go in as a parking operator, set the rate that we want to set or whatever is agreed to by council, set it, and then that person in Philadelphia can buy in advance the parking spot within whatever garage they are there. So when they come in, they're going to get a virtual digital ticket. They're going to scan it as they enter the garage. They're going to come in, they're going to park. When they're ready to go, they're going to scan the same ticket that they have on their phone to leave the garage. They don't get issued a ticket at the entrance. They get all the instructions as they would coming into the facility and actually pulling a ticket, and they have everything else afforded to them. But we collect the revenue in advance. It's a reserved spot, and it's a little bit harder for them to cancel, but it's something that we're looking to expand into. And that goes for everything, not just events. It goes for every daily parker or what have you that we have here. And the more aggregators we go on, the more some people have their own. It sounds like you're maybe a Spot Hero person.
Yeah, I'm a Spot
ParkWiz
Hero person.
people out
It's totally fine. I just want you to share out loud in a public forum how that works.
Yeah, and there is a third aggregator that we're working with. We're just trying to figure out what that third aggregator is going to be the best for us, whether it's best parking or there's one other that we're in conversations with.
Perfect.
So that's kind of where we're at.
Something that we should probably.
You could, yes. Yeah, you could.
So
You
when
could.
we decide, like, if it's $10 or $20 for the Christmas parade, we could publicize that and say
You can-
your reservation, and then
You can. The other good thing is once we figure out how it flows, we can also publicize monthly parking available at whatever we decide to make that. But it's all going to be able to be done electronically as opposed to somebody coming in, speaking to the garage manager, getting an application, going home, filling it out, making a phone call and all that. They can just do it right online. So it's much more streamlined and much more technology driven.
I am happy to have all of these, but yes, please keep going and keep us up to date. And if you have any other thoughts on that, go ahead.
Got it. You got it. I mean, the last thing is that the LPR that we currently have in the garage that we're able to help. I don't know if anybody has used that technology and how quickly you're able to get out of the garage. I mean, the license plate attaches to the ticket you get. If you do pay for it by way of phone, as soon as you pull up to the gate, the gate goes up. You don't need to roll down your window. I know we don't have anything out in the rain, but in locations that are in the city or what have you that are out in the rain that use the LPR, it's a feature that people absolutely love. This just gets you out of the garage a little bit quicker. So, but a great feature that we've been able to add to both garages.
I greatly appreciate that too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate your time.
All right. Discussion item C, loading zones in the downtown.
do you want to start? Talk about
I am
love.
going to bring to downtown Westchester, previously the bid. I'm asking the businesses to set up a discussion with me about where these loading zones really need to be. I think that the current ordinances are not helpful. I think we need to basically, nobody likes when I say this, but wipe out what we have and place these things in the places that they need to be for the businesses that we currently have we really should have a system of how these are going to be organized and how many are allowed on each block and things like that. But we first have to ask who is really using these. I know that I use one that is not on Gay Street for tailors on a regular basis, but the sign isn't really clear. Like, we need it all clean. We need it all cleaned up. We need to not have stuff in writing in Borough Hall that doesn't exist. And I'm going to work towards that. What are your thoughts?
Pretty aggressive. Good luck. How many terms you're going to run for?
17.
There you go. By that time, you'll have it fixed.
I'll put that in the minutes.
The major problem with loading zones, they're not big enough.
Yeah.
Because the trucks that come into town, I called Ramsey the other day and I was ready to lose my mind I purposely go down Gay Street to see what's going on Gay Street, which is asinine. If I want to go home, I should just go down Chestnut Street and go home.
Yeah.
But I love getting stuck in traffic. The slalom that we have to go through going down Gay Street, because the trucks are way too large.
Yeah.
And they're really servicing multiple businesses in the downtown. So they're there 45 minutes to an hour, some of them, like
Yeah.
Cisco and Silvet, I think it's called. And the beer distributors are there for quite a while because they're running back and forth.
Yeah.
The loading zones on Gay Street now, on Gay, are too small. I asked Ramsey whether we'd be able to do two different things. Like they do at other places around the world, set times when you get deliveries from 6 in the morning to 10 in the morning and from 3 in the afternoon to 6 o'clock, whatever time it is, that most of the businesses can get their deliveries. And the second thing is everybody has to park on the same side of the street. That way there, you can have a full lane going through town and you don't have to know that you're in a downhill slalom going through town. So there are the two things. The smaller ones that you use
Yeah.
are good for like the side streets for cars and small businesses. And I almost said Goober, where Uber pick her up and DoorDash, they're good for that. But Gay Street, times of delivery is my big thing, and parking on one side of the street. And we're going to get a lot of pushback.
I know.
So but you know, we have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know, they're my thoughts on the loading zones.
I just want to clarify, the truck loading is not, I know it's not happening in the loading zones. So what I was actually talking about is the passenger vehicle loading zones. And part of this discussion is those are two different things. So yes, they're two different things. They're very different. I am 100% for the timed thing. So that is going to be a discussion with the bid. But I also think Carlino's, Taylor's, Music, Melena's, these places use passenger drop off on a regular basis. And we need to have it make sense for people who are coming in from West Goshen and are terrified of parallel parking. Like, we need to accommodate them. So, any thoughts, Lisa?
Are you going to do both? So are we talking about
I was going to start with passenger,
passenger?
but it's very much, it has to come up at the same time too.
Yeah. Have you gotten any responses from the businesses so far?
I have spoken to the businesses. They need loading zones is all that they will tell me, or their loading zone signage that is close to their business makes no sense. So
Yeah.
yes and yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think about this the same way that, you know, you sort of tackled parking, right? Just a piece at a time.
Mhm.
And yes, it's something that's overdue. I would also support the delivery, you know, at certain times during the day. and maybe certain sides of the street. And I think we've all experienced sort of, snaking through downtown West. It could be any time of the day.
Yeah.
And if we restrict that to a specific time, then I think, we have a little bit more control.
Yeah.
I've talked to John O'Brien about that, and he is not in huge support of it. So I'm gonna just talk to the business owners and see who will say what about what. And because it not only, I mean, I think everyone knows in my fantasy, the streets can be closed all the time, but the idea behind that scenario is these gates can be opened and these trucks can go down on the right side of the street, load for 4 hours, and then you lock the gates up. You could do it on the days that the gates are closed or the gates are closed all the time. However that works, there's a way to manage this stuff. And, starting with loading zones.
Yeah.
Yeah, the north side of Gay Street has an alley behind it. So those deliveries could be alleviated for there. The south side or the east side,
Right.
south side, there's an alley that goes from Darlington all the way up to the back of Taylor's Music. And then there's 2 or 3 businesses like Penn's Table and Arianda don't have rear parking or delivery.
Right.
So their delivery trucks can be on Church Street instead of being on Gay Street and just blocking everything up. But the times of delivery, everybody else, does that. So.
Yeah, I think if we look at this and we have a good conversation with the businesses and this is to help everyone. I don't think this isn't an anti-business conversation anyway, but we can make room on Gay Street, on Church Street. There's room in lot 10 for cars to park, and there's room for pedestrian or regular transient parkers to park. We just need a plan. We need to fix the ordinance, and we just need a clearer way to do it. I would like some feedback. I know when I first started here, John O'Brien and I did a little survey with BID about loading zones, and I can share that. I'm sure the feedback has changed since the Gay Street closure has become more consistent and some of the businesses have modified. But, I mean, I would definitely be interested in hearing the feedback from the businesses and using that in a way to do this together as a collaborative exercise. It's, it just hasn't been done. It's been a reactive building of loading zones. So, we can definitely do it in a more thoughtful approach. And everybody can win. And the signs are just unreal. I can't figure, and it's like, how long are people loading? Because I don't know. There's no time limit on any of them. So
Business
we're all
owners
just
are
loading all the
complaining
time.
about the language on the signs too. Like it's not helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's definitely one thing I would love to fix. I love to modify an ordinance. So
So in year 14, are we doing the personal ones first or Gay
Well,
Street?
So I would love, I think I'm the reason that the questionnaire went out with the bid, because I want these loading zones on Gay Street fixed, but I see the gates coming plan. I really want DoorDash vehicle parking at the end of each of these closed blocks. This is super important to the commerce in our community, that we adjust to what is happening and what is going to happen. So I'm definitely going to start with just modifying the current passenger vehicle spaces. If somebody will talk to me about Gay Street, I will jump in, but I've gotten a lot of pushback and people saying, oh, well, there was a lawsuit 20 years ago and the trucks won, so you can't change anything. And I don't know what any of that's about. So yeah, I'm like, okay, great. I don't know what that's about.
If you want to give buy-in or buy out, make a rule. And just like anything else, there'll be 360 people in the audience telling you what they want or what they don't want, what they think is fair.
I have a plan of at least calling their attention to it on Tuesday morning. So
Very good.
I will do.
We had our our bid meeting this morning, so it's too late for so you have to do yours.
Thank you.
I say we do them both and see. I'll try to fix them all.
Okay. Move on. Notification process for ordinance 2022-11 Adams Street.
So I did hear that this is coming up for final approval. Okay, in May. So should we consider, does that mean that people will start building soon? Should we start notifying people?
I still think you should be starting the notification process when we have
Plans?
final plans recorded and we're a little further down, because I think notification should take, what are we talking, at least 90 days? Yeah, so we can wait until
Okay,
we know that the applicant is, first of all, gets their approval this month, and then records their plans, pays their fees, enters into the land developer agreement, and we see things moving. We do see things moving on the site. They are doing site work, stormwater work right now.
okay.
Quiet time starts next week. And all the cars that are going to be over there
Yeah,
won't be there, but the big truck, the white trucks and the guy who warehouses all the trucks and stuff will be there.
storage trucks.
But and if we get final stuff moving by September, that's going to cause an issue
Yeah,
for the students when they come back and things are going to be missing.
Yeah.
So.
yep. Okay. So I think maybe we play it by ear and try to time it at least for some sort of information by the time the students start coming back so that they have a heads up.
Hey.
Because otherwise they're going to think that they've got parking spaces and then eventually they're going to be kicked out again. And by then we should have our map that we're working on with PAC and some more Spot Hero stuff for the garage. So hopefully we'll have some better documentation to provide about where to park.
Let's plan on doing it like early August.
Yeah, I would say August. Okay.
And also, we may, if the university goes through with their plans, which I'm hoping they don't,
hmm
they're building a housing project in one of their parking lots. So that's going to eliminate, they're putting trailers in their temporary housing.
Right.
And that's going to eliminate a lot of parking in front of the Matlack Garage behind the music center where the band practices over that way. I don't know how many trailers they're planning on putting in there for temporary housing because they overbooked the flight for 2024. And now we'll pay the price for it.
Okay. Well, hopefully all those kids already had student parking permits and it won't be that big of a dent.
Okay, handicap parking.
Yes, so similar to our discussion about loading zones, we have 10445 in our ordinance is the handicap parking list of all of the parking spaces that have been adopted over the years. And when I started, we sent out letters to many of the people or the addresses associated with these spaces, asking for them to provide the documentation that they're supposed to provide to get these spaces that I usually get before I bring the applications to parking committee for approval. I want to say we have at least 100 parking spaces ordained, but I think I might have gotten like 15 to 20 responses. So, and one of the other parts of our assessment before we start taking these signs down is that we survey them to see if they're being used, which can be a problem if you're looking at, I mean, anywhere that's without residential permits or even with residential permits, if they're being used by somebody that has an active handicap placard, we don't know if that's the person that requested this space. And obviously we want to provide ADA compliant parking for everyone, but we're trying to do it for residents and people that live within the borough. And we can't tell if these are transient people that are just visiting or borrowing a handicap placard when they come to visit. So I'd like to post I put this letter just asking, I put a QR code that would make these handicap permits, but they can also bring it into the office, and it just states what they would need to provide if they might not be the person that requested this space, but maybe they're still using it and we want them to continue using it. They just need to bring us the documentation that shows that they have a license to the address, they have an valid car registration to an address in the borough, and then they need to give their handicap placard and their ID just to prove that they are a valid handicap driver that lives in the borough. And if that's the case, we'll leave the sign up. If they can't provide this, which we've had a few people come in and they're like, we don't drive anymore, but we like our placard for guests. That's really not fair to keep the sign up. And at that point, we can remove the signs. And, you know, if anyone needs a sign, they're welcome to come request it and we'll go through the process again. But it would help us clean up the ordinance and make sure that we are providing handicap parking for those who need it and removing any that are no longer in compliance with the ordinance.
Can we also have a system for regularly auditing?
Yes, so part of this would also, and I will bring an update, I'd like to update the, thank you. I would like to update the ordinance to include that most municipalities ask that you provide this documentation every year or every 2 years to keep your parking space. Like my mother-in-law has one up in Berks County. She has to provide it on her own. She has to come renew it annually. This would turn it, we would put it in the system, same as your parking permit. So you would actually get an email 30 days before it was going to expire that would remind you to submit it. So you can submit it online or you can bring it to us and we would just auto renew it. Otherwise, we could then do the same auditing process again. The other thing that we should consider when we're updating the ordinance is if you have off-street parking, a lot of municipalities, I went through a lot of ordinances for handicap parking. If you have off-street parking, you should not be applying for parking spaces on the street. And we don't have that in our ordinance right now. So that's another thing that we should include in our updated ordinance. But yeah, they would just auto renew and they would get a reminder email.
I am in favor of this.
How many designated spots do we have?
In the borough total,
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
I want to say over 100.
Okay, so it says on there, May 31st, 2024.
Mhm.
Are we going to physically have one of our officers knock on everybody's door
What I
and
would,
this to them? Because we can't expect senior citizens, number one, to know what a QR code is. That's number one. You know how pain in the butt that is when you got to go to a menu and you're in a restaurant?
right. So, no, you don't, well, no, so I would hang these on every single sign in the borough, on any handicap sign that has not been, because I don't know who's using these. So I can't go to every door in the borough because I don't know which address is using these signs. So you don't have to use the QR code. You can go to the website or you can come here and visit us and I'll put that on here. You don't have to, it does not have to be online, but you have to provide this to us somehow. I've got our address, our email address, the QR code, a website. I put my name, even though I really didn't want to because I like being anonymous, but yeah, but I mean, they're going to have to bring us that information.
The placard or whatever it's going to be, I would assume it's going to be 3 times that size, so people will notice in a bright color when we put it on the pole, if you're going to put it on the pole, right?
I mean, it'll be this big hanging under it. So you'll
Signs
see
up
it.
here.
Yeah, so it'll hang like, I'll put these in, like laminate them or put them in protectors. So you'll see it when you pull up to it,
Okay.
hopefully. I thought hot pink was a good color.
That's a great color. Yeah.
I also expect, when people see people coming out to remove them, they'll usually come out and go, what's going on? And at that point, we'll stop, if they can provide that information. We're definitely not trying to remove anything that people need and use. We just need contact. So, yeah. And I can extend the timeline.
Being able to navigate
Yeah.
some of the stuff, that's all. So.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
If I'm handicapped and I applied for this sign 10 years ago,
Mhm.
do I need a parking permit to park on the street if it's on Sharpless Street? It's a permit parking street, but there's a handicap spot across the street from me.
Yeah, you still need a parking permit.
So they're already doing they're doing the work of every year renewing a permit. So this is not really
Yeah.
a different
No,
thing.
and we had a lot, like the people that did respond, because it was on our website, a lot of people did respond electronically. So we did have the people that did respond electronically. But we've gotten a lot of emails like, my neighbor passed away and this sign is still up. Can you please take it down? So I just want to do one more really hard pass to make sure, because I just don't want to remove something that someone needs. We can also take the sign off the pole, leave the pole for a minute, see if anyone notices and calls us. There's options, because the ordinance won't be updated for a couple of months after we do this whole audit. It's just that surveying it doesn't help, because people will always park there. Yeah. But I hear you. I can make like giant phone numbers and I'm not being mean. I just mean if there's any suggestion on how to make it.
Yeah, maybe we could start with a smaller targeted sample and we can iterate our process that way, like maybe target a couple blocks where we know there's 3 or 4 spaces and see how it goes
Yeah.
and work out the kinks in the process.
Yeah. We'll definitely hear. Don't worry. You will. And then I will. Okay. And then can I bring the ordinance amendment to the next meeting? Is everyone good with that? I guess I'll wait. I'll wait until we find never mind.
Thank you.
Ignore me. Okay.
All right. Move to the action items. Motion to amend the fee schedule, Chestnut Street Garage, 95 to daily rate.
Yes, so this was what I mentioned in the fee schedule. I just would like to remain consistent. I did talk to MPark. They said it wouldn't take them long to notify the monthly parkers.
I am all in favor of this.
If you're good with that, then it would be effective July 1st.
3-0.
Notice will go out in June for July 1st.
We approve that 3-0.
Okay. Thank you.
Motion to approve resolution to include addition of 6 parking passes for 127 South Matlack, Area A.
This was the discussion brought by Mr. Flynn last month regarding the Care Foundation.
It's the Care Foundation's been there for 40 years, over at 125, 127 South Matlack Street. And they have a need for business day parking, which we do normally for businesses. We give them a daytime, a specific time that they're allowed to use it, from 6 to 6 and no weekends. And this will allow for the teachers and the health people a place to park there on Matlack Street.
Yeah, I did include in the resolution, since now we can change by resolution, that it is strictly for the Care Center Foundation. So if there's a change of use, we would modify the resolution. That way.
I like that. Are we in favor? Yes.
Hi, Shannon Mandine. I live at 711 South Matlack Street. I walk past the care center when I'm dropping my child off at Boulder Kids, basically 3 to 4 days a week. First, I think there's an error. I think what you're looking for is a non-residential permit, not a business permit. Per the website, the non-residential permits provide temporary parking for employees of businesses located in a residential permit area. And a business permit is for contracted service providers, and these would not be contracted service providers. So I wanted to raise that first. Second, walking past that area frequently, I can tell you that East Bernard, there is 1 side parking South Matlack is one side parking. There's no parking along this portion of South Matlack because there's a parking area there. And then, of course, down Barnard Street, as you go through the underpass, there's no parking over there as well. I see a lot of vehicles parked there, and I understand that the care center was running a business there. That's been empty since last November, and my understanding is they don't have a prospective tenant. I would ask that this be, there's no childcare there right now.
You're 1,000,000% wrong, 1,000,000% wrong. Dr. Wendy Wallace, what she did was she totally renovated the interior of the building. The ICU took all the children down the street next to the senior center. And as of next week or the week after, they'll be accepting new students and children in the daycare. Their license has been renewed, and they're ready to go right back into business again, helping the underprivileged in the borough.
Okay. I stand corrected. What I'm clear on, though, is that there hasn't been anything since.
No, there hasn't been there for about a month and a half, 2 months, because they've been renovating. Yeah.
But there also haven't been kids in there since November.
No, they're down the street in the ICU next to the
CCIU.
CCIU, next to the senior center. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. But it's opening next week with new students.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming.
I will say I did have it wrong on the agenda, but the resolution does say non-residential.
Okay, thank you. So that's correct. Thank you. Are we okay with this? This is going to pass 3-0. Is there any other business? Then,
Minutes.
oh, thank you. We need to approve the April 2024 Parking Committee meeting minutes.
Fine.
Approved 3-0.
Right.
Thank you, Ramsey. And move on to other business. Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.